So the next question, also a technical question on embeds, the knowledge graph. Can that be embedded to make it stronger? I don't know. I've never tried to embed a knowledge graph. I don't know that you can. Marco, do you know if you can?
The knowledge, I know that you cannot embed the knowledge panel.
The panel, that's what I meant. Yeah.
No.
So there is this though. Okay. So you see right here, like my company, Big Bamboo Marketing, as well as me personally, because years ago when we still had access to, what was it called? Freebase. Freebase was a semantic web entity, or excuse me, semantic database that we used to be able to add details to, add entities to. But Google bought it and they stopped allowing, so this is an actual knowledge panel or for an entity, a semantic entity, right? Does that make sense? It looks different. So for example, Big Bamboo Marketing, if you see underneath my normal knowledge panel, you see this right here, which would be considered an entity panel, I guess. I don't know what the actual name of it is, but if we click through to that, you'll see that it creates this different kind of search. It's still the same search phrase, but it's got this, and I don't know why it's only got one profile in there, because on me personally, you can see it's got all of my profiles. But this, if you click the share button, let's go back to the company instead of a personal. If we click the share button, it gives you this URL here. And that right there is something that if we were to go look at it in a, like where it goes, for example, you'll see that that's a 302. So it's not a great URL, but if you take the final version of it, let's see if where it goes is working today. There it is. So it's a 302 redirect to a meta refresh to this final target URL here. So if I copy that and I go view that, again, it's just going to bring up that same search as before. But my point is that these types of URLs right here are what I would consider, you know, entity type targets, if that makes sense, because that's what MREID, that's what those are. These right here are called MREIDs, which is machine readable entity IDs. Does that make sense? But for like Alpha Land Realty, on the other hand, that I don't have an actual semantic entity in, for that, if that makes sense. So it's a little bit different. Now I've done some link build, so you can see it doesn't have that separate box down here, that because it doesn't have an MREID, machine readable entity ID. The older stuff that I was able to add as a semantic entity into the Freebase at the time, you know, they do have them. So you can do some pretty cool things with those. For example, you can build links to this. You could also drive traffic to it, which can also help to cause that knowledge panel association with the keyword. So there's different things that you can do with that if that's available. But for your standard knowledge panel, if it doesn't have that entity ID also, then I don't know that you can do anything with that other than what Marco just said. So I just thought I'd share that little lesson there, because they are different. When you look at this type of a thing that has that little share button right there, that means it has a semantic entity, or it is a semantic entity. Does that make sense? Okay. Anyways, moving on.